Welcome. You have reached Imperial Reviews, and today's review is Red One. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's get into it. So, in the spirit of 2024 Christmas, this is the first Christmas movie review of the season. It hasn't been a lot. It's a lot. Get those ones that pop up on Netflix. If they're interested enough, I might take a look. Hallmark always have some corny ones. But overall, this kind of like the first big one in a sense. So let's go over the cast. So you got Dwayne Johnson as Callum Drift, Chris Evans as Jack O'Malley, Santa Claus, aka Nick, J.K. Simmons, Lucy Liu as Zoe, Bonnie Hunt as Miss Claus, Christoph Haviju as Krampus, and Kernerna as Gryla, Wesley Kimmel as Dylan, and Nick Kroll. I forgot Nick Kroll's in there as Ted, and you got Mary Elizabeth Ellis as Olivia, which is the mom of Dylan. Let's get into it. So, and Chris Evans. It's hard to believe when you see Chris Evans in these roles that he actually was Captain America. Because I guess when we look at Captain America, he was had a more of a serious role. But these roles are actually him. The character that he plays in this film that's really him. And then when you see him in Deadpool versus Wolverine, when he played as the Human Torch, that's really him. When he played Captain America, he was really like more of a serious character. So we looked at him different. But when you see him in here, you're like, this is the same guy that played Captain America. But nevertheless, let's get into it. So the movie starts off with Jack's character as a little kid, and he's at his uncle house, and all the cousins is there. He pickpocketed his uncle to find the key where all the gifts is. He just want to show the kids is that Santa Claus is not real. The uncle came up. Uncle seen him, pretty much telling him, Jack, why you doing this to your cousins and spoiling it? Whatever. And he basically like telling him, I know Santa Claus is not real. So that night, the uncle tried to convince him, but that night he ate the cookies for Santa and drank the milk. Fast forward 30 years later, it shows him just walking around and he's pickpocketing people, and he's a true thief. But you see he's at this place, this facility, and he's plotting on this woman. He already looked her up online. She got security clearance with ID, and he needs to tap into there. So he's like the dark web hacker. So he steals her information. He's able to get into the facility after he set fire. They was all doing yoga outside. He set fire to a Christmas tree out there, and while everybody's distracted, he took her security badge and sneaked into the facility. He put his device on a wire so it can steal data. Now, what he does is he like the world's best tracker. He'd track anybody that you need to find. So he doesn't know who people trying to track. If they willing to pay him, he's like a mercenary hacker for hire. He just take the money, give him the information, and go about his business. But what he does also, he gives a fail safe when he sends them. He sends them a Trojan horse whenever he's sending them the data. That way, if they renege on payment, he could retaliate. So nevertheless, he does this. Fast forward, we see that moment. The next moment we see is Nick is in the mall posing as like the fake Santa, but he's really the real Santa, but he's posing as a fake Santa where he's taking pictures with kids, and you see a social media influencer pop up, skip the line over the kids, pretty much say, hey Santa, I just need you. I got 3K followers. I just need you to put this shirt on, say where's the beef or whatever, something he said, something corny he said. Nevertheless, Callum, which is Dwayne Johnson's character, pretty much approached them and said, "Hey, you back off. These kids need, they we're in line, and you need to go about your business." So after that, Santa was like, I needed that," and it shows them driving off and getting to the airport. You got the fighter jets seeing his clearway, and then it sees him getting to the reindeers. The reindeers is ginormous, and Callum, they find of him. He feeds them all pretzels. They gear up. Santa pretty much use the spirit and go off the Air Force way, fly in the sky. He enters into the city of the North Pole in a secret passage. So when you see that, it's futuristic. He arrives back, and what it shows is Callum pretty much when they get back, he wants to retire. He doesn't want to do this no more because the naughty list is getting the percentage of the naughty list is getting longer and growing. So pause. And he pretty much, people are losing the spirit. He's losing the spirit. Santa's pretty much telling them, "Hey man, you even though they're losing the spirit, it's still the kid in them that you gotta still believe is in there, and they'll find their way." So Santa was like, "Let's just do one last ride, before you retire." So after that, you see this group is popping out of nowhere. They're looking for the North Pole. They got the information from Jack. He gave them the information, and when he gave them the information, they found the North Pole and they made their way in. So now it's this. Once they make their way in, Callum is looking over the balcony and looking over the city of the North Pole. He sees some lights out where Santa stays, and that triggers alarm. He tells somebody to go look at it, and when they go look at it, they fade out. So he's like, "Hey," he sets off the alarms. He goes look for Santa. Santa's gone, and so he see this vehicle traveling out. So now he's, now it's action time. So now he's jumping into his heroics, trying to chase down this vehicle. Finally, it gets out of where the new North Pole is, and when it gets out of where the North Pole is, he creates a snow avalanche. Come to find out, the Santa wasn't in there. It was a decoy, and then he see a plane flying off. So then they had to set up all these alarms. Santa's been taken. They call Lucy Liu's character, and she's part of a group called Mora. So they handle like the stuff that people don't know is real. Bigfoot, the jack-o'-lantern, stuff like that. And Callum's group is part of the E.L.Fs. That's his group that he covers. So they're looking for Santa. Now they get intel and pretty much figure out that Jack, he's called the Lone Wolf on the dark web. He the one that got the information and provided information to whoever was looking to find Santa. So they're looking for Jack. Now Jack's son's mom calls him, says she need him pick him up from school, and he's like, "I can't. I'm at work. I'm busy." And you can see right away he doesn't have a good relationship with his son, and he's pretty much like, where's his stepdad? She says he's not available to get him. You need to go get him. So he goes to his son. He has a little dialogue. The son pretty much is taking it for what it is at this point. Like, you don't really fool with me. I still love you that you're my dad, but I still love you that you're my dad, and so we're gonna drop me off at home. The mom pretty much said, "Look, he wants you to uh come to his game. Come to his recital tonight and watch him play. He like, no, he didn't. And she's pretty much like, yeah, he did. He just ain't said, you know. So nevertheless, when he gets back home, he sees people following him, and so he instantly pick it up and he start fighting his way. So they're all trying to tackle him, get him, and uh, retrieve him back so they could get him for the Moore group, where Lucy Liu's character Zoe can talk to him. So nevertheless, he outthought him, fought them all off, broke free, thought he was clear, came through a door, and Zoe, she zapped him. Then once she zapped him, pretty much trying to get information from him, he said he didn't know nothing. She really believed him. He just gets what he does is just gets the information and pass it along. He doesn't really know who's who. So she takes him to Callum's group, and Callum has where you see the trailer, the big polar bear. Uh, he uses him to scare Jack, and then Jack pretty much told him the same thing. Look, I don't really know who did this. However, Zoe was really willing to pay him double of what they paid him. So then he came around and said, well, I always keep a fail safe. And so he was able to track where the person came from. They came from Aruba. So now this is where the cool things in the movie start to happen. You got Callum. He has a arm device that it can either make him real strong with the arm device, or it can take a toy like a Hot Wheel toy and turn it into it enhances the reality of the toy where you could actually drive the toy or whatever. So you start seeing cool things like that. Pretty much says every toy store is a network portal with the North Pole to navigate through different parts of the world. So they need to get to Aruba, and then they navigated from one toy store and ended up in Aruba. This is where they see Nick Kroll's character Ted, and so Ted is pretty much he's surrounded by goons, and where you see now some more cool action film where Callum he could take that device and he could shrink like Ant-Man and shrink larger like Ant-Man, and that's what he used to beat them up. And so Ted pretty much told him, hey, this woman is psycho. You can't say her name. If you say her name, she could hear you. So Callum pretty much said, well, write her name in the sand. When he wrote her name in the sand, the name was Grier. And so Jack said her name, and he was in Callum was like, no, what did you do? And so she hears when somebody say her name. So she instantly possessed Ted, and pretty much she knew who Callum was, and she let Callum know she had Santa, and Callum was like, you need to let her go, you witch. And so they kept using that phrase like witch all through the movie, trying to be funny instead of the B word. And so she sent her goons. That's where you see the trailer where it's big monster snowmen with carrots on as their nose. So this action scene on there, if you take the carrot off, that really just makes them melt, and not before they could freeze you. So they went through all that. Now they know what she's trying to do, what she's working to get. She wants to zap Santa's energy to fill these globes, like the snow globe that people get, and she wants to annihilate the whole naughty list. And her plan is if she get all the people who's naughty into these globes, that'll get rid of them and make them pay for everything they did to be on the naughty list. Now, she's using Santa's energy to produce this globe. Now, his energy is zapped. Now, while Callum is trying to figure out where Santa is, he's thinking that maybe Santa's brother has something to do with it. So Santa's brother's name is Krampus. We've seen movies about that. So they go to where Krampus is, and when you get there, Krampus the slapping competition. So Krampus is there having a slapping competition with his people. And so they bring Column there, they imprison Column and Jack, and then Column pretty much told Krampus, hey, your brother has been taken. He got a job to do. Help us. And Krampus is pretty much like, nah, I don't got him and he's not here and I'm not letting you go. And so he said, I'm gonna keep Column, I'm gonna keep you here, and we're gonna let the mortal go, which is Jack. So right before Jack was about acting like he was going to leave, uh, he pretty much said, hey, Column said that he could beat you in the slapping tournament. And pretty much I thought he was a joke, but come to think of it, when I look at it, so he's doing manipulation on Krampus. And so they took Callum's his arm thing off that he could charge up for power, and they took it and they threw it. So I kind of knew at that point when they doing this slapping contest, they're eventually going to get this uh, device back on his hands. So they did the slapping thing, and when it came time for when Callum slapped Krampus, he slapped him a little bit, gave him a little whatever, but it was nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because he's like a demigod or pretty much. And when Krampus smacked him, it just knocked him to the ground, but he wasn't knocked out. Like when he hit the last guy, he flew across the room and he was knocked out. So then what took place from there, um, since Colin wasn't knocked out, he get another chance. So he was measuring himself, and right when he was very smacked, Jack slipped the device arm thing on his, and he charged it up. And once he charged it up, he was able to smack Krampus and knock him down or whatever. So then right at that point, everybody like, oh, and then everybody went off. And then, like I said, Column could take these devices. He could take like toys and make them be their reality. So he had them little rock'em sock'em robots. He had two little ones. Threw them on the ground, shot his spirit into them, and they grew up. And he used them to help him fight his way out. And so they was able to get loose and get out of Krampus's lair and get out to the road. And that allowed Column to see different, and to Jack made him feel pretty much like, hey, you more different, I misjudge you. And so they started driving down the road, and Jack had said Grier's name again, and then she heard him. So what she did, she sent the globe to his son. His son was at his show, and he pretty much called his dad and pretty much told him like, hey, why, if you ain't want to come, you didn't have to come. And why would you send me this dumb device? So when he looked at the device, it was the globe. He touched it. He got zapped in the globe. And so it was another globe there for Jack. And so Jack grabbed the globe and he got zapped into it. And so Jack pretty much looked at Colin and said, find me. And so both of them was zapped into the globe, ended up at the lair where Grier was with her ogre goons. And she was manufacturing globes for all the naughty people across the world. And so now Colin was left to find out where Santa was. And once they was putting two to two together, they was pretty much saying, which she put a tracking device on Jack when they had got him earlier. When they put the tracking device on him, they was like, yo, he must be nearby or whatever. And so Colin was like, well, you know what it is? He put two and two together. They never took, everything was a decoy. The whole time they took and put Santa in an old underground lair that they had at the North Pole. And that's why his energy was still strong. And they were planning to use his energy so they could fly around the world with the reindeers and get a globes to all the naughty people. So that was her plan. Of course, Colin finally got back to the North Pole, and now they had a showdown. He had his people versus her and her ogres. Had a big battle scene. She tried to leave off. Jack had a one-on-one heart-to-heart moment with his son, and it broke the spirit out of the globe because instead of them being naughty, they turned, both of them turned nice or whatever. So Jack and Callum race to try to stop the Grier witch from flying off, and they pretty much did stop the whole sleigh and everything. And she fell off the bridge. They broke free Santa to wake up, and then when they thought everything was good, this big ogre thing came out, and which was the Grier witch. She was really a giant ogre, and she used to mess with Krampus. So she pretty much said, "I'm gonna kill y'all." Krampus showed up to try to save the day because that's still his brother, and pretty much said, "My brother got some work to do. You gotta let him free." And so she pretty much hit him, knocked him somewhere. And then when Callum tried to fight her, she didn't have no success. I mean, he didn't have no success, so she was going to kill him. And then Santa finally woke up, pretty much told her to stop and chill. And she pretty much said, "Well, I'm going to sacrifice him right in front of you." And then Santa called on his reindeers, and they came and hit Grier off balance, knocked her up in the air. And pretty much she ended up landing in the big trailer full of globes that she had. And she ended up getting sucked into one of the globes. The same globe she was making for all the other naughty people. She ended up falling into one herself. Krampus and Santa pretty much rejoined, embraced each other, brotherhood. And then Santa was pretty much like, "You want to stay for a little bit?" Krampus pretty much looked at him like, "Hey, don't push it." And he left off. And then, of course, it showed them getting ready they was behind schedule, getting ready for Christmas. And it just showed how Santa goes around turning into like Ant-Man, the big Ant-Man and the little Ant-Man, how he fits into chimneys, shrinking and enlarging himself. He has the little presents, throw them on the ground, and then he enlarges them to make them bigger for people's trees. It just showed him going around the globe the whole time. I mean, the world doing that. And then it showed how Jack and his son bonded. And then it showed the image of Jack's the inner self of him, like the little kid version, come out as he was bonding, believing in Santa and Christmas and everything. And so that by Callum seeing that made him get that spirit again to want to still enjoy and deal with Christmas instead of resigning like he planned to. And Santa was pretty much like, "You finally see it, huh? Don't give up on people," pretty much. And then he was like, "I don't want to resign. Welcome me back. If you have me." And of course, Santa said, "Embrace him." And that was the end of the movie. So it was definitely action-packed Christmas movie. It reminds me of, they took, like, it's a movie out there called Santa Man. It's like an animated film. They kind of took some parts of that. Also, it's another movie called Arthur's Christmas, where the older brother was a big brolic guy. So it reminds me some parts of that. They took that and put it in some of this movie. Overall, a decent Christmas film. Is different from what you're used to with all the action and everything and the storyline. I think they did a real good job. I just don't think that they marketed well. Right now, we see the biggest marketing movie right now is Wicked, and the Universal Pictures is pushing that through the roof. Although this a red one, the trailer didn't come out as early as I think it should have, and I don't think they pushed it as great as, I heard they put a lot of money into this movie, so I don't know if they're gonna make their money back, but it is a decent film. So if you get the opportunity, looking for a Christmas movie to go out and watch with your family or whoever, take a look into it. Out of my 4-star rating system, I give it a 3 out of 4 stars. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Till next time.